Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive, really fascinating strategic shift in the world of global higher education. We're looking at the newly minted affiliation between the Universal Institute of Professional Management, you probably know them as UIPM, and UNU Wider. So if you've ever wondered how a university suddenly expands its international footprint and literally grabs a seat at the table of global public policy, well, you're about to see exactly how it happens. Let's dive in. Real quick, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the UIPM and UN partnership first. Then we'll look at who UNU Wider actually is, explore how this unlocks elite academic networks, talk about shaping global public policy, and finally, look at how this advances sustainable development goals. Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Cambridge. Okay, these are the absolute heavyweights of the academic world, right? So what suddenly connects them to UIPM? The answer actually lies in this brand new UN affiliation. You see, by stepping into this specific network, UIPM is tapping into the exact same research ecosystem as these legacy institutions. Now, obviously that doesn't mean they operate identically overnight, but it does mean they now share a collaborative global framework that totally levels the playing field when it comes to data access and policy influence. Let's break down exactly how that works. Section 1. The UIPM and UN partnership. Let's look at the immediate impact. So, becoming officially affiliated with United Nations Network, that is an immediate, absolutely massive international branding upgrade for any university. It acts like a global magnet. This kind of recognition instantly increases trust from existing partners. It attracts international students who are hunting for globally connected programs, and crucially, it draws the attention of major international funding institutions. It's basically a massive green light to the financial and academic world that, hey, this institution is actively participating on a major international stage. Moving on to Section 2. Who exactly is UNU Wider? UNOIW stands for the United Nations University World Institute for Development Economics Research. It's a mouthful, I know, but they are a highly strategic research institute that focuses exclusively on evidence-based global development economics. Their main mission? Generating the actionable research that's needed to actually alleviate poverty and reduce inequality around the world. So they aren't just writing academic papers destined to collect dust on a library shelf somewhere. No, they are producing the essential references that drive actual sustainable global development. Which brings us to a really important question. How does accessing this UN Research Center actually change the game for affiliated universities like UIPM? It's one thing to have a prestigious affiliation on paper, but how does this actually alter the day-to-day academic reality for professors and their students? That takes us to Section 3. Unlocking elite academic networks. We are literally looking at a fundamental shift from isolated research, where a university just operates inside its own little bubble, to direct cross-border collaboration. Because UNU Wider connects top researchers worldwide, affiliated faculty and students are suddenly dropped into the exact same collaborative sandbox as their elite global peers. By tapping into this shared channel, universities bypass those traditional silos that can really hold academic progress back. It suddenly opens doors to direct dialogue with researchers from those legacy institutions we mentioned earlier. And this collaboration isn't just random. It follows a highly structured progression. Step 1. Network members get exclusive access to seminars, workshops, and international conferences to lay the groundwork. Step 2. That initial networking naturally evolves into engaging in joint research projects with these new global peers. And finally, Step 3. The ultimate goal here is producing highly respected co-publications and setting up vibrant academic exchange programs. This structured path is exactly how an institution builds its academic muscle and really solidifies its global reputation. Let's look at the bigger picture in Section 4, Shaping Global Public Policy. Through UNU Wider, institutions gain access to some seriously exclusive, extensive datasets covering things like development economics, poverty, and inequality. But the real magic here is the application of those resources. Affiliated universities aren't just, reading this data in a campus library. They are using these exclusive resources to formulate actionable research. They're engaging directly in policy dialogues at the UN level, so they're transitioning from merely observing global issues from the sidelines to actively diagnosing and addressing them on the world stage. And who exactly is listening to these policy dialogues? Well, the ultimate policy implementers. We're talking about the United Nations itself, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and governments all over the globe. These massive institutions rely heavily on UNU Wider's research as essential references when they're shaping their development policies. So by being part of this network, affiliated institutions open up a direct channel to actually participate in and inform this international policymaking process. It's a real game changer. But let's bring this down to earth for a second. We've talked about the UN, we've talked about the IMF, but we've really got to ask, how does this research practically change the world? What does it actually look like on the ground when these global policies are finally put into action? Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Advancing Sustainable Development Goals. UNU Wider's research agenda aligns incredibly well with three absolutely crucial Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We've got SDG 4, Quality Education, SDG 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, and SDG 10, Reduced Inequalities. Because UIPM is now actively participating in and contributing to this specific research pool, they significantly strengthen their own institutional contribution records to the UN. By targeting these exact areas, they are tangibly moving the needle on these three massive global targets. Just consider this really powerful quote directly from the source material. UIPM's research or programs have the potential to be included in the global policy framework. Think about the sheer weight of that statement for a second. Research born on a university campus can now realistically find its way into the actual frameworks that govern international development. That is a massive, massive expansion in global responsibility and influence for any educational institution. And that leaves us with one final, pretty exciting thought. With a newly opened direct line to the United Nations and a network of the world's most elite academic institutions right at their fingertips, what global challenge will affiliated universities like UIPM solve next? The tools, the data, the network, it's all perfectly in place. The stage is totally set for some profound global impact. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.